Welcome, everyone. This is the first live broadcast of the Politics of Survival, thanks to B&B Engineering. So thank you, Oz and INN Indy. You're wonderful. Thank you for supporting independent content creators. I have with me a wonderful person that I've always wanted to have on my show, and here she is. She was a longtime host of RT America, and also, I just found out, had even a stint as a stand-up comic. So here we are, fair and balanced. Welcome.
Tara, thank you so much for having me. And you know what, I have to tell folks this very precious story that means a lot to me. Okay. The day that we found out that RT America was shutting down, I was walking home because normally I'm like a metro ride away here in DC. Right. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to walk this off. We're going to walk home. The very first text, or it was text, but a Twitter message that I got was from you. You were the very first person that messaged me and said, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I was just like, wait a minute, is this the Tara Reade messaging me? And from there, our friendship blossomed, but I can't even, and this is the first time I'm actually sharing this story, by the way. So exclusive content, but I was so thankful. And then again, from there, our friendship blossomed. And, you know, with us women in independent media, I mean, we all need each other at this time because we're living in some very strange times, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, I watched you and just had such an admiration for you. And you were always like, when you would interview your guests, you gave them space, but also, you know, you asked tough questions sometimes, but you did it with a smile on your face and you did it with a sense of humor and you delivered the news in a way. And now that I know that, you know, you've had that background, it's interesting because I could feel your humor come through with, you know, everything. So yeah, the shocking thing about RT America shutting down, that was a shocker. The same day, as you know, Lee Camp and I both had our podcast pulled from Spotify and Google. At the same time, his was more noticeable. Mine had just, you know, started. He'd had a show for 8 years. So yeah, it's affected a lot of our colleagues, hasn't it?
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that's so shameful, I think, in today's society is, you know, one of the people that, and I can say it here, that was pushing the cable companies to shut us down was a journalist, Dan Abrams, who first of all has a show on News Nation, which again, nobody knows either his show or News Nation, but was pushing and calling cable companies, calling us, trying to say, oh, will you come and interview? And then he does this whole ambush piece of, I watched RT America, so you didn't have to. And it was just pure, utter crap. Yeah. And he brought in a girl, Liz Wall, who everybody kind of knows if you Google RT America or RT, about how she quit on air, which is the most unprofessional thing any anchor will tell you to do. And then she went on to work at Newsy and signed off on air as well. So, I mean, she's got like a really professionalism streak. But, you know, and then she wasn't even there. She was under different management in a different building. And this is what these journalists do. And it's like my biggest pet peeve is they don't do the actual digging that they're supposed to do. They go back to 8 years ago when so-and-so worked there. It had nothing to do with what it was. And it was just a complete ambush. And then you had all of these media outlets asking, you know, what's it like to work for RT? And I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I was never told what to say. Every night my show, I had a team. I had a booker. I had a line producer. I had, you know, I had a writer that I wrote with, and we would talk about the topics that were important to people that no one else was talking about. And when we started after Rick Sanchez left, we maybe had, you know, a good 10,000 views. By the time we were done in 3 months, we had over 150,000 views because people saw we were talking about stuff that nobody else was. And they were calling me like the female Tucker of RT. And it was like, that was like, okay, I wish I had 26 million viewers. But it was just that, no, news isn't that hard. You talk about what people are witnessing and experiencing, and you make them feel valid, like you're actually listening. Whereas the mainstream media, they don't care what you're going through. It's all about what they're trying to tell you what you should care about.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's being weaponized by intelligence agencies and by PR firms that are working for the government with a message. And propaganda. I mean, I heard someone say today that the information war, I think it was Scott Ritter, said today that the information war, unfortunately, Russia's having a hard time with it. Like the West is dominating. You have England and America, but I think that has to do with big tech and censorship. So we saw a lot of censorship of RT, international RT.